Listen to me. Some of you been standing at the edge of a decision for months, maybe even years. You keep looking at it, turning it over in your mind, waiting for some kind of sign, waiting for everything to line up perfectly before you move. But let me tell you something, perfection doesn't exist. The longer you wait for the perfect time, the more that time robs you. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Life rewards the one who moves while they're unsure. The one who steps out when the voice in their head says, "What if it doesn't work?" and still says, "I'm doing it anyway," because the truth is, the moment you move, things start to shift. You can't steer a parked car. You can't grow standing still. You can pray about it, think about it, talk about it, dream about it, but until you move, you'll stay exactly where you are. Some of you been praying for change, but God's waiting on you to make the first move. You say you want a better life, a better business, better health, better relationships. But those things don't come from wanting, they come from deciding. Decision is the birthplace of destiny. It's not in your degree, not in your background, not in your family name, it's in your choices. Every move you make is either taking you closer to who you were meant to be, or keeping you stuck where you are. The reason most people never change is because they think too long. They analyze until they paralyze. They want to see the whole staircase before they take the first step. But faith doesn't work like that. Growth doesn't work like that. You don't need the full picture. You just need the courage to start. Some of you keep asking for clarity, but clarity doesn't come before the decision. Clarity comes from the decision. You get stronger by walking, not by standing still. The path lights up after you take the step. And I get it, making a decision is scary. You don't know what's on the other side. You're scared to fail, scared to look foolish, scared to lose what you have. But let me remind you, not deciding is also a decision. Staying still is a choice. Playing safe is a choice. Every day you choose comfort over commitment. You're still deciding, but you're deciding to stay the same. You can't pray for change and keep choosing comfort. You can't ask for success and keep making safe decisions. Growth doesn't come in the comfort zone. When I was younger, I used to think successful people had some kind of secret, that maybe they just knew what to do, that they had it all figured out. But I learned the truth. They didn't know either. They just decided faster. They made a choice, learned from it, adjusted, and kept moving. That's it. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is the speed of your decision. Some people make one bold decision and their life changes forever. Others spend their whole life waiting for the right moment and they die waiting. You've got to stop waiting for confidence. Confidence is not what makes you move. Movement is what builds your confidence. You can't think your way into courage. You have to act your way into it. You take one small step. You prove to yourself that you can, and suddenly that fear starts to shrink. Action kills anxiety. Decision kills doubt. Every time you act, you build momentum. And momentum is powerful once it starts rolling. It's hard to stop. Some of you are still looking for signs. Maybe when I get a better job. Maybe when I save a little more money. Maybe when I meet the right person. No, the sign is the desire in your heart. The sign is that you can't stop thinking about it. The sign is that it keeps showing up in your dreams. You already know what you need to do. You just haven't decided to do it yet. You don't need a new confirmation. You need a new commitment, and I know what you're thinking. What if I make the wrong decision? What if I fail? What if I look stupid? Listen, the only wrong decision is the one you never make. You can recover from a mistake, but you can't recover from regret. Failure is feedback. Every great success story is written with chapters of failure. The problem is, most people never turn the page because they're too afraid to start the story. You can't skip failure. You've got to go through it to grow through it. You see, the power isn't just in the decision itself. It's in the person you become because of that decision. When you decide, you declare something about who you are. You say, I'm no longer waiting, I'm taking ownership. That shift alone changes everything. Suddenly, opportunities start showing up. People start noticing your energy. Doors you thought were closed begin to crack open. Why? Because the universe doesn't respond to wishers, it responds to decision makers. You've got to get to a point where you stop negotiating with your purpose. Stop saying maybe next year. Stop saying when things settle down. They won't. Life doesn't slow down, you just get stronger. You decide today, right now, because every delay is costing you something. It's costing you peace, progress, potential. You're not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you. And I know you've made some bad decisions before. You've trusted the wrong people. You've missed opportunities. You've failed. But don't let your past indecision paralyze your future potential. You're wiser now. You've got more experience. Use it. Learn from it. Don't let what went wrong before stop you from doing what could go right now. Every time you choose to move forward, you reclaim your power. Life is short. You can't spend it second, guessing every move. You can't get to greatness halfway committed. You've got to burn the ships, cut off the backup plan, and say, I'm all in. Because when you decide and commit fully, you unlock a version of yourself you've never met. That version doesn't ask what if. That version says, watch me, make the decision. Don't wait for the perfect time. Make this the perfect moment. Listen, emotions are beautiful. They make us human. But if you let emotions run your decisions, you'll live your whole life on a roller coaster. One day you're up, fired up, ready to take on the world. The next day, something doesn't go your way, and suddenly you're down, questioning everything. You can't build consistency on feelings. You can't build greatness on moods. Feelings change every minute, but discipline stays. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It just shows up and does what needs to be done. You see, that's the problem. Too many people make decisions when they're excited. They say, I'm going to start that business. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to chase my dream. But the moment it gets uncomfortable, the moment the excitement fades, they start negotiating with themselves. You said you wanted it, but now that it's hard, you're questioning it. You said you were all in, but now that it hurts, you're halfway out. You can't keep making emotional decisions and expect stable results. You need a standard that doesn't change with your emotions. When you decide from emotion, you react. When you decide from principle, you respond. There's a difference. Reaction is instant. It's driven by the moment. Response is intentional. It's driven by your purpose. You've got to build your decisions on something deeper than your feelings, because your emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you to quit when you're close. They'll tell you to slow down when you should be pushing harder. They'll tell you you're not good enough when you're actually right on the edge of a breakthrough. That's why discipline is everything. Discipline is your anchor when life starts shaking. It's the voice that says, I don't care how you feel, we're still showing up. Discipline says, I don't need to feel like it to do it. You've got to get to a place where you don't rely on motivation. You rely on consistency. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Everybody feels good at the beginning, but the ones who win are the ones who keep showing up after the feeling fades. Let me be real. There are mornings you won't feel like getting up. There are days when life will hit you hard, when nothing goes right, when you're tired, frustrated, drained. And in those moments, emotions will try to take over. But if you built your life on emotions, you'll fold. If you built it on discipline, you'll stand, because discipline doesn't care about circumstances. It doesn't care about your comfort. It only cares about your commitment. You've got to make a decision once, and then let your discipline make it every day after that. You don't decide to go to the gym every morning. You decided once that health mattered to you, and now you just follow through. You don't decide every day to chase your dream. You already decided your dream was non-negotiable. Once that choice is made, it's done. Feelings can't vote anymore. You've got to take emotions out of the driver's seat. That's where real strength lies. It's easy to be fired up when the crowd's cheering, when everything's going well. But can you still push when no one's clapping? Can you still show up when nobody's watching? Can you still stay locked in when it's boring, when it's repetitive, when it's painful? That's discipline. That's what separates those who talk about greatness from those who live it. See, emotion is short-term fuel. It burns fast and bright, but it dies quick. Discipline is that long-term engine that keeps you moving when the tank feels empty. You can't keep running your life off quick bursts of hype. You need something sustainable, a system, a rhythm, a routine. You need to program your mind to show up regardless of how you feel. That's how you build momentum. That's how you build confidence. That's how you win. Every time you push through when you don't feel like it, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that your word means something. And that's powerful because confidence doesn't come from success. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. You start to believe in you. You start to see yourself as dependable, reliable, unstoppable. You stop needing external validation because you know you'll show up no matter what. Let's be honest, emotions will always be there. You'll still get tired, still feel doubt, still face fear. But now, instead of being controlled by them, you control them. You acknowledge them, but you don't obey them. You feel them, but you don't let them dictate your direction. You choose your standard and live by it. Because the moment you start letting emotions make decisions that discipline should be making, you lose ground. So stop chasing the feeling and start chasing the standard. Set your principles higher than your emotions. Decide who you want to be, not based on how you feel right now, but based on what you're committed to long term. You can't depend on the mood. You've got to depend on the mission. You've got to tell yourself, even when I'm tired, I'm going to move. Even when I'm scared, I'm going to act. Even when I don't feel it, I'm going to stay locked in. That's what separates those who almost make it from those who do. The ones who win, they don't feel like it every day, but they still do it every day. Your emotions might get loud, but your purpose has to speak louder. Don't let a temporary feeling decide your permanent future. Feelings fade, discipline decides. Every decision you make is a seed. You might not see it right away. You might not feel the results tomorrow, but every choice you plant grows into something. Some grow into fruit, others into weeds, but don't ever fool yourself. Every decision has a destination. You can't make daily decisions that go against your dreams and expect to wake up in the life you prayed for. It doesn't work like that. You can't keep saying it's just one time or it doesn't matter. No, it all matters. Every small decision is pointing your life in a direction. The question is, are you steering it or drifting? Most people don't end up lost in life because of one bad decision. They end up lost because they kept making tiny ones that didn't look dangerous at first. One missed morning, one lazy excuse, one I'll do it later, one compromise at a time. Then one day they wake up miles from the life they said they wanted, wondering how they got there. You didn't fall, you drifted. You didn't fail overnight. You made little choices that slowly led you off course. You've got to understand every decision is connected. What you do today shapes what's available to you tomorrow. You might think you're making a choice in isolation, but life doesn't work in isolation. It's cause and effect. Your decisions form habits, your habits form your character, and your character shapes your destiny. You can't choose average and expect excellence to follow. You can't sow laziness and expect abundance to grow. You can't invest your time in distractions and expect purpose to find you. It's all connected. You have to start thinking long term. Stop trading permanent peace for temporary pleasure. Stop trading your future for a feeling. Stop making decisions that feel good now but cost you later. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So when you say yes to wasting time, you're saying no to progress. When you say yes to comfort, you're saying no to growth. When you say yes to fear, you're saying no to opportunity. Every yes and every no is a direction. Look, life is like a GPS. Every decision you make changes your route. Some of you keep wondering why you're stuck, why nothing's changing, but you're still making the same turns. You're asking for a new destination, but you haven't updated your direction. You can't keep taking the same path and expect a new outcome. If you want a different life, you've got to make different decisions, not once, but daily. Every decision you make is shaping who you're becoming. You're not just deciding what to do, you're deciding who to be. When you choose to show up on time, you're becoming dependable. When you choose to study instead of scroll, you're becoming disciplined. When you choose to forgive instead of holding onto anger, you're becoming free. You are crafting your identity through the choices you make. So when you start making better decisions, you don't just change your life, you change you. And let's be real, sometimes the right decision doesn't feel good, sometimes it costs you, sometimes it isolates you. But that's the price of direction. Growth is uncomfortable because it's taking you somewhere you've never been. Stop expecting the path to feel easy. The path is supposed to stretch you. You can't reach destiny without discomfort. You can't get to purpose without pressure. But if you stay the course, if you keep choosing what's right over what's easy, eventually those decisions pay off. You've got to start asking yourself powerful questions before you make moves. Not do I feel like it, but where will this take me? And not does this make me comfortable, but does this move me closer to who I'm meant to be? Ask yourself, if I keep making this decision every day for the next 5 years, where will I end up? Because your daily choices are creating your future. Your habits are building your tomorrow in silence. You can't keep blaming your environment, your circumstances, or your upbringing. Those might shape you, but your decisions define you. Every day you get a chance to rewrite your story. Every sunrise gives you a fresh page. The question is, what are you writing with your choices? Are you choosing growth or are you choosing excuses? Are you choosing direction or are you choosing distraction? Some people keep waiting for a breakthrough, but breakthroughs don't just show up, they're built one decision at a time. You decide to wake up earlier, you decide to show up when you don't feel like it, you decide to stop settling, you decide to keep going when it's hard. That's how breakthroughs happen, not in a moment, but through 1,000 small, unseen, consistent choices that move you forward. Every decision is a brick, and every day you're building something, a wall or a foundation. Some of you have been building walls, blocking your own blessings because of fear, doubt, laziness. But you could be building a foundation that supports everything you've been praying for. You can't build both. You've got to choose. There's power in awareness. When you realize your decisions are steering your destiny, you stop living on autopilot. You start choosing with intention. You start protecting your energy, your time, your focus. You start saying no to things that don't serve your purpose. Because you understand every yes is sacred, every no has weight, every decision counts. And maybe you've made some wrong turns before. Maybe you've made choices you regret. That's okay. That's not the end of the story. The beautiful thing about decisions is that you can always make a new one. You can choose to turn around. You can choose to start again. You can choose to shift your direction today. You're never too far gone to make a better decision, because life doesn't change by accident, it changes by decision. Every decision you make is moving you somewhere. Make sure it's taking you toward who you want to be, not away from it. Your future is waiting on the choices you make right now. Choose wisely, choose intentionally, choose forward. At some point, you've got to stop running from your own choices and start owning them. That's the difference between average and great ownership. Too many people make decisions, and when things don't go their way, the first thing they do is point a finger. They blame the boss, blame the weather, blame their upbringing, blame the timing, blame life. But ownership says, no matter what happens, I'm responsible for how I respond. Ownership is freedom. Because when you blame, you give your power away, but when you own it, you take it back. When you take full responsibility for your decisions, the good, the bad, the ugly, you stop living as a victim and start living as a creator. You stop waiting for life to change and start changing it yourself. You stop saying it's not fair and start saying I'll find a way. The moment you own your decision, you shift from powerless to powerful, because when you own your choices, you can fix them. When you own your results, you can change them, but you can't fix what you keep denying. Most people never grow because they never admit that the situation they're in is the result of their own choices. It's easier to blame, it's easier to say it wasn't my fault, but easy never built anything great. You've got to have the courage to say, yes, I made that decision. I failed, I messed up, but I'm not going to live there. That kind of accountability hurts at first, but that's the pain that produces progress. Growth doesn't come from excuses, it comes from ownership. When you own your decision, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for people to rescue you. You stop waiting for permission. You stop explaining why you didn't do it, and you start doing it. You stop saying, they didn't believe in me, and start saying, I believe in me. You stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? That's power, that's maturity, that's ownership. You've got to stop apologizing for your life and start authoring it. If you made a bad decision, learn from it. If you lost because of your decision, study it. If that choice cost you something, accept it, but don't stay there. The worst thing you can do is hide behind shame. The moment you take ownership, you start writing a new chapter. Because owning your past gives you control over your future, you can't rewrite history, but you can redefine what it means to you. It's easy to own your decisions when they lead to success, but the real test is whether you can own them when they don't. Can you stand tall when you failed? Can you admit you were wrong without letting it define you? That's what separates strong people from fragile ones. The strong don't deny their mistakes. They use them. They say, yeah, that one's on me, and I'm better because of it. That's what growth sounds like. Sometimes taking ownership means standing alone, because not everyone wants to be accountable. Some people will want you to join their pity party, to sit in the corner and blame life with them. But if you want to be great, you can't sit at that table. Ownership will make you outnumbered, but it will also make you unstoppable. It gives you peace because you know your future is in your hands, not someone else's. When you own your decisions, you also own your power to pivot. You can change direction at any time. You can say, I chose wrong, but now I choose better. You don't have to wait for a new year, a new job, or a new relationship. You can make that shift right now. That's the beauty of ownership. It doesn't trap you in guilt. It frees you to grow. The only people who stay stuck are the ones who keep denying their role in their situation. Ownership is a mirror. It forces you to look at yourself honestly, not to judge, not to shame, but to improve. When you own it, you start asking better questions. What can I do differently next time? What did this teach me? How can I turn this around? That's when progress happens. Not when you talk about what went wrong, but when you take charge of what happens next. You've got to stop giving other people power over your emotions, your mindset, your effort. No one else decides how hard you work. No one else decides how you respond to setbacks. No one else decides if you keep going. That's on you. You can't control everything that happens, but you can always control your choices. And when you own those choices, nothing can break you. Because even when life hits you, you're grounded in responsibility, not excuses. There's a peace that comes when you stop blaming and start owning. You stop carrying bitterness. You stop waiting for things to magically fix themselves. You stop expecting life to hand you what you haven't worked for. You start moving different. You start speaking different. You start walking like someone who knows whatever happens next, I'm in control of my response. That mindset alone can change your life. And don't forget, ownership isn't just about taking responsibility when things go wrong. It's also about standing firm when they go right. Some of you downplay your success, act like you just got lucky. No, you made that happen. You made the decision. You put in the work. You showed up. Own that too, because the same ownership that makes you accountable for failure also gives you the right to celebrate your wins. So here's the truth. You can't control everything, but you can always control you. You can't change the past, but you can decide what it means. You can't fix everyone, but you can fix your response, and that's where your freedom lies. Don't run from your decisions, stand on them. Don't deny them, define them, because when you own your choices, you own your life.